won't be here long today either. The text says that he went, I'm not in there, y'all talking about Job. He went, tried Job. Yes. And then he went back, he said, you know what? I still can't do what I want because you got a protection around the flesh. God was like, wait a minute, you just said around the stuff, so I let you touch the stuff. I'm paraphrasing, you can go back and read. The text says, he said, you know what? I'm going to give you one better. You can do whatever you want, just don't touch his soul. I like to believe that's where the late Douglas Miller got his song from. Though the storms keep on raging in my life, and sometimes it's hard to tell the night from day. He goes on and he finishes up the chorus and say, my soul has been anchored in the Lord. And can I tell you, saints of God, Satan will beat your flesh up. Satan will knock the wind out of you. But if your soul is anchored in the Lord, you don't have to worry. That's why they sing the song. There's a storm out on the ocean. It is moving this over. If your soul's not anchored in Jesus, guess what? You will drift. He said you can do what you want to do. Don't touch his soul. Y'all know the story. Satan whooped Job's tail. He knocked the solid coins out of his life. Left him there, no children, a confused wife, fake friends, and broke. Don't that sound like some of our lives? But the thing I love about God is he keeps his promise. He looked past Job's schizophrenic moment. He looked past Job's bipolar moment. He looked past Job's suicidal thoughts that people don't want to talk about. He looked past all of that and he told Job one thing: pray for your friends. Now I can imagine, can I just be real? If that was me, I would listen, Jesus, wait a minute. Let's talk about this, sir. I'm laying on my bed of affliction. I got boils on my body. And I don't know if y'all know what a boil feel like. But my God is uncomfortable depending on where it grows. I got boils on my body. Blisters. The flesh is falling from my bone. They came in my face to criticize me and to scorn me. And now you want me to pray for them? I'm telling y'all the God honest truth. Jesus, if I get enough strength, prayer is what they gonna need. I don't think they gonna want it from me. But Job gives up. Y'all walk with me. Chapter 42, verse number 10, 9, 10, 11. And Job prayed for his friends, and God gave him double for his trouble. That's the first scripture I want to give you. The next scripture that I want to give you is in Ephesians chapter number 6. The church of Ephesus didn't understand why they were going through what they were going through. They were troubled on every hand. They were trying their best to do what they had been taught and what they had been told. But everything they went to do was falling. Doesn't that sound like how life does us sometimes? Everything you've been taught to do, you're doing. Everything you know how to do, you're doing. But it does not seem to be getting better. Paul goes on and tells them, put on the whole armor of God, because we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities and powers and wicked places. There is a spiritual warfare that goes on over your life daily you don't know nothing about. And so I want to tell you that sometimes delay feels like denial, because there's a warfare, there's Because we struggle with accepting our gifts, not because we are afraid of ourselves, but we're afraid of growth. Some of us, and I ain't make it up, I'm telling you, I see it happen all the time. You get praise and worship leaders that become praise and worship leaders because they don't want to accept their call to preach.
Come on.
And then they up 45 minutes preaching instead of singing. And now the pastor got to try to come up behind them and preach. Y'all know y'all this song before. Let me help y'all out. This is real life. This ain't fake. This ain't made up. There was 3 people, and I'm gonna say their names because I can do that. There was 3 people, and they was raised. One of them was raised in the church off 5th Avenue. The other 2 was raised in the church off Washington Boulevard in Francisco. Their name were Evangelist May King, Evangelist Cynthia Lewis, and Pastor Kelvin T. Anderson. And I'm telling y'all a real life story. And so in 2003 and 4, between the 3 of them people doing praise and worship, we would get a sermon out. We had not accepted our call to preach. We weren't trying to hear our call to preach. Y'all walk with me. I'm telling y'all I got the truth. And so after a while, Pastor always said, I didn't talk to all 3 of y'all. Because every Sunday morning, we got the VHS for some of them. Y'all go back and look at it. Every Sunday morning, one of the 3 of us, we were getting us a mini sermon in. And after so long, we couldn't run no more. We had to go before God and accept our calling to the ministry. I want to tell you that because I know some of y'all say you lost weight, I lost weight. Sometimes we allow delay to become denial in our lives because we don't want to accept the will of God that's on our lives. We know that God is calling us up higher, or God is calling us up out of a situation, and because we don't want to come out of it, we make ourselves more comfortable in it. Some of us will not accept the call on our lives because we don't want to come out of mess. And so we don't understand that not only are we going through a spiritual warfare because of what God has in store for us, but then we're going through a spiritual warfare because we don't want to grow. And so now we're fighting amongst ourselves in the spirit and in the flesh, and then we got a spiritual warfare going on too. I didn't make it up. I really wish I had time to break it down because then I'll take you over to Corinthians because Corinthians shows Paul's schizophrenic. Job wasn't the only one that was going through schizophrenic. Paul went through it too because he said we're troubled on every side. But y'all remember that? He was going through the battle between the flesh and the spirit. And I want to tell you that when there is a spiritual warfare going on, if you're not prayed up, you will get caught up in the midst of it. Y'all walk with me. Because now I'm going to tell y'all about this 21-day fasting. Because people always ask where you get it from. Daniel chapter number 10. Daniel was fasting and praying for 21 days. Y'all can relax. I'm not calling it a 21-day fast. God from Zion. There was a spiritual warfare that was happening that now not only caused his spirit to become heavy, but now his mental began to play with him and say, well, maybe God just has forgotten about me. And I want to tell you, that's the next thing that you have to look for, because when Satan cannot get your spirit, he's going for the mind.
That's right.
Because now Daniel, who's prayed up, Daniel, who's fasted up, Daniel, who has a connection with God like no other, Daniel, who is anointed from the womb. I didn't make it up when you go do the history of Daniel. Daniel walked in God's favor from the time he was born up until he was taken into captivity by the Babylonians. He had favor on his life, but now Daniel's mental was messed up. You don't got to believe nothing I say. Let stuff start falling apart in your life. Some of us will never admit, no, I'm too strong for that. He was a lying wonder. The text says, y'all walk with me. I'm in chapter 10, verse number 12. We almost in verse 13. It's 11:15. We're making good time. He says, God began to talk to him. Y'all with me? Verse number 12. God had to tell David, fear not. Don't start tripping. Don't start tripping. Don't flip out on me. Because the moment you pray sincerely from your heart, I heard you. And can I tell you, saints of God, that there are times where we'll just pray and cry our hearts out, and Satan will come in our mind and tell us, God ain't heard you. God ain't listening to you. You don't have to believe what I'm saying. For many years, we would pray and we asked God to bless us with certain things, even concerning with the church. We ask and we pray, God bless us, God do this, God you open the door. That's what we would pray. There were times we fast and pray. I'll tell you what I know. I'll never forget. I was probably about the 3rd grade on the Daniel fast with the church before we were praying for a building. I'm in 3rd grade and it was right when school was getting ready to start. I say, Jesus, I don't know how you finna do this with my stomach, but we're believing you for a building. He says to Daniel, don't be afraid. And I want to tell you, saints of God, every now and then, when you're praying and believing God for something, Satan will cause your mind to believe that God has not only forgotten about you, but he's forsaken you. He'll cause you to believe that your walk with God is not authentic, or try to cause you to believe that your walk with God is not authentic. He'll make you believe, try to believe that everything that you are doing is in vain. I want to tell you, saints of God, this is what happened when the lady feel like denial. He began to pray on your mental. You don't have to believe me. What he does is, after he's told you all of these things, then he allows doubt to set in. Well, maybe God didn't say that. Maybe I heard wrong. Y'all. I know something. I don't want to go. I don't want to say man today. You ain't got to say man today. Then we go after we move past that. Well, maybe I should just try it my way again. Can y'all be real with me? That's what we start saying. That's what we start saying. But then God comes in and he tells us this had nothing to do with your prayer life. It had something to do with your faith walk. Every now and then, as I stated in the beginning, God allowed things to transpire in our life for, number one, for us to identify that there's room for growth in our faith, but then number two, to prepare us for the growth. Let me tell you that the blessings that you want in your life require more faith than what you had last year.
Come on.
What you want God to do in your life for you now requires you to trust him more. Let me tell you, if you can't trust him to pay your bill, you ain't gonna trust him to heal you from cancer. If you don't trust him to meet your need, you're not gonna trust him to perform a miracle. Because a miracle means that you have to provide a platform for him to perform it. And some of us don't want to provide that platform because that means we got to give up some stuff. We got to go through some stuff. I'm almost done. I'm not hooping today either. We're almost done. We're going to get back to that, I promise y'all. When the Holy Ghost tells me it's okay, all right? He goes on and he says to them that not only did I hear you, But the moment I identified that your heart was in the right place, I responded to you. Here's the last reason why delay to feel like denial. We won't align ourselves up with the perfect will of God. Some of you say, how did you get there? I'm glad you asked. Had Daniel really been dependent and in full relationship with the Lord, he would have never doubted that God was responding and moving on his behalf. I want to share something with you. There's a few people in my life that if I ask them to do something, I don't have to call about it no more, unless I'm just sending a reminder, because let me tell you, every now and then, the mind slips. Y'all ain't got to say what I'm telling you the truth. But there are certain individuals, I can ask them to do something. And outside of just sending them a reminder, I don't have to worry about them dropping the ball. But then there's other people I won't even bother to ask to do nothing. I know y'all don't see this. Y'all don't want to tell the truth because y'all don't want to call nobody's names out. If I ask certain individuals, listen, at such day, I need you to make sure that this is taken care of. I ain't got to sit there and worry. Lord, I wonder if they're going to do it. Ooh, Jesus. You know what? I might not want to do it. Let me tell you something. That type of relationship is what we should have with the Lord. If Daniel had really been aligned, let me tell you, that's why it's important to have a faith walk and prayer life that matches up with one another. He says, Daniel, I've already heard you and responded, and I was on my way. And can I tell y'all something? There are certain things that I fast and pray about. I don't worry about it no more. And I'm telling y'all this, and I don't have to tell you because you all have saw it. When the Lord gave us the vision for how he was going to do things for our building, I didn't go back and second guess it. I presented it to the church. Y'all here? Y'all can tell me if I was wrong? I presented it to the church. The Lord gave us the vision. He said, we won't go through a bank. It won't be more than 5 years before it paid off if we fast and pray together. Is that not what the Lord said? We done it. He gave us a time frame. He said within 6 to 12 months, I didn't make it up, on month number 11. I wasn't even there. I had COVID. I couldn't even be there. On month number 11, we were signing the closing papers on the building. God fixed it. Listen, God fixed it. Where we went in and we were able to tell them, give us 3 years to pay it off. God said 3 to 5 years and we'll be paid off. Everything that God spoke, because we did our part out of faith. We didn't have to go back before the Lord and say, God, you sure about this? And every time, and we laugh about that on the board, I talk about the board meeting, because every time something would come up, we got to pray about it. And even now, we got to pray about it. Because why? I want to hear what God has to say. Because once I hear what God has to say, now it's up to me and my faith to see him perform it. Delay may feel like denial because of where we are in our faith journey. You want to see God do something supernatural in your life? You want to see God open up that door that you need him to open up? You want to see him make a way for you? Align your life up with his will. Allow your faith to overcome your fear. I didn't make it up. Verse number 12. What did he say to Daniel? 2 words. What did he say? Fear not. 365 times you'll find that in the Bible. Fear not. You know why? Because every day of the year, he wants you to understand, don't be afraid. I got you. He wants you to know every day, you got this. I'm done. I told y'all I'm done. Verse 13, finish up, going to 14, I'm done. 14 goes into says, I was coming. So what I did, I held the fight up for you. And I let a messenger come to let you know. I heard you. I saw your heart. Now here's your answer. Whatever it is you expected God to do last year, whatever you're expecting him to do this year, allow your faith to bring it to pass in your life. You done cried long enough. You done been depressed about it long enough. You done battled it long enough. You done toiled with it long enough. Put some faith on it. I was brought up in the 90s. We had what was called Pac-Man. And on Pac-Man, you can go, and when you get to the little round thing, it's souped up Pac-Man. And one while the enemy was chasing Pac-Man. Y'all walking with me? But when he got to that little ball, Pac-Man began to chase the enemy. Can I tell you that the enemy will chase you? But when you put some faith on it, you can go against the enemy and you can get everything God has in store for you. We offer Christ to you today. I told y'all I was done. We offer Christ to you today. Maybe you don't know him in the part of your sin. Maybe you accepted him as straight